Some of you don't actually want a marriage. You want a wedding, and you don't realize the difference yet. If you're dating with marriage in mind or feeling pressure to settle down, this video is for you. Today, we're talking about 5 signs you may want a wedding more than a marriage and why that distinction matters. Far more than people admit. This isn't about shaming anyone. It's about clarity. Because a wedding is one day, but a marriage is a lifetime. And confusing the two is how many people end up committed but deeply unhappy. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be able to tell exactly what you're preparing for and what you may be avoiding. Before we get into the 5 signs, we need to ground this conversation. There's nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful wedding. Celebration is human, community is meaningful, ceremony matters. The problem starts when the symbol becomes more important than the substance. A wedding is a public moment. A marriage is a private system. One is about presentation, the other is about partnership. Many people are very prepared for the ceremony and completely unprepared for the reality that follows it. So let's walk through the signs slowly and honestly. Sign number 1, you're more excited about the day than the life after. And this is the most common sign and also the most socially accepted. You think often about the dress or outfit, the colors, the guest list, the photos, the moment you walk in, but you rarely think about how conflict will be handled, how money decisions will be made, how daily life will actually look like, what daily life will actually look like, how stress, illness, or disappointment will be managed. This doesn't mean you're shallow. It means you've been trained to imagine the highlight and not the system that's called marriage. A wedding is designed to be exciting. Marriage is designed to be stable. And we all know that sometimes stable feels boring, especially in the very beginning. Excitement is short-term. Stability is built over time. If your emotional energy goes almost entirely into the event and very little into the structure of a relationship, that's not a character flaw. It's a signal. It's a sign you may be preparing for a moment and not a life. Sign number 2. Your timeline matters more than compatibility. This sign often hides behind very reasonable thoughts. I'm getting older, my peers are married, my family keeps asking. I don't want to start over, especially for those who've been committed for a long time. Or you hear they're Igbo and they have a good job, so I should try and make this work. These thoughts are understandable, they're human, but they're also dangerous when they become the main driver. A timeline can create urgency, but urgency is not discernment. When the pressure to be married now outweighs the need to ask hard questions, people begin to compromise on things that later become non-negotiables. Compatibility is not about liking the same things. It's about shared values, emotional maturity, conflict style, communication under stress, alignment on money, family, faith, and priorities. When speed becomes more important than alignment, people don't choose, they settle. And settling often looks calm on the outside, but it's chaotic on the inside. If your primary motivation is, I need this to happen soon, rather than I need this to be right, please pause. That pause could save you years of pain. Sign number 3, you want the title more than the responsibility. This sign is subtle, because titles carry meaning. Being called a wife or a husband comes with social respect, a sense of arrival, validation, belonging, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that. All of these feed into our need to be significant, to be wanted, to be loved, to be worthy, or to even be good enough. But marriage is not just about a title. It's not just a title. It's a role, and roles come with responsibility. Marriage requires emotional regulation, accountability, the ability to repair after conflict, willingness to grow, even when it's uncomfortable. If the idea of being married feels more appealing than the idea of doing the work marriage requires, that's information. Titles feel stable, responsibilities require effort. A healthy marriage is not sustained by status. It's sustained by consistent, usually invisible work. If you're drawn to how marriage looks more than how it functions, then it's a sign worth listening to. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. Sign number 4. You ignore red flags because marriage will fix it. This sign causes the most damage long term. It often sounds like, oh, they'll mature after marriage. Once we're committed, things will change. Oh, love will smooth this out. Or you just accept it and say every relationship has issues. Yes, some issues are normal, patterns are not. Marriage does not fix character issues, it actually magnifies them. Poor communication doesn't improve because of a ceremony. Emotional unavailability doesn't disappear with commitment. Value misalignment doesn't resolve because of shared last names. Marriage adds pressure. Pressure reveals what is already there. If something feels consistently difficult now, it is unlikely to become easier later. Ignoring red flags is often less about optimism and more about fear. Fear of starting over, fear of disappointing others, fear of being alone. But fear is a terrible foundation for a lifelong partnership. Sign number 5, you haven't defined what marriage means to you. This is the quietest sign and the most important. Many people can describe their dream wedding in detail. Very few can clearly answer, what does partnership mean to me? How do I handle conflict, especially when I'm hurt? What do I need to feel emotionally safe? How do I expect decisions to be made? What does respect look like in daily life? Marriage is not sustained by assumptions, and it is sustained by clarity. And without clarity, people rely on culture, family examples, social expectations, and granted, those can guide you, but they cannot replace self-awareness. If you've never taken the time to define what marriage requires from you, not just what you want from it, that's a sign you may be focused on the event more than the covenant. So here's the core problem. Society rewards weddings, it celebrates the engagement, it praises the ceremony, but it offers very little guidance for sustaining the relationship afterward. So people prepare for what is visible and neglect what is private. The challenge is this: you can have the wedding everyone admires and the marriage no one envies. And by the time that reality becomes clear, it often feels too late to change course. So let's reframe this conversation. The goal is not to stop wanting a wedding. The goal is to expand your focus. A healthy marriage requires emotional literacy, communication skills, conflict repair, shared meaning, mutual respect. None of these show up accidentally or automatically on the wedding day. They are built intentionally long before. This is why intentional dating matters. This is why clarity matters. This is why slowing down is not failure. Choosing well is more important than choosing quickly. And the people who end up most at peace in marriage are often the ones who are willing to ask uncomfortable questions early on. Here's key truth. A wedding asks, how will this look? Marriage asks, how will this last? One is about performance, the other is about partnership. If you want a marriage that feels safe, supportive, and resilient, you have to prepare for the reality, not just the milestone. And the courage to pause, reflect, and choose intentionally is far more powerful than the courage to rush. So let's summarize the 5 signs. You may want a wedding more than a marriage if you're more excited about the wedding day than the life after. Your timeline matters more than compatibility. You want the title more than the responsibility. You ignore red flags, hoping marriage will fix them. You haven't defined what marriage actually means to you. None of these make you broken. They make you human. But awareness creates choice, and choice creates better outcomes. Marriage is not about arriving. It's about building. If this conversation helped you think differently, and if this conversation resonated with you, and you're an Igbo man or woman dating with marriage in mind, I want to invite you to watch the next video on your screen. Why I started Igbo Matchmaker, rooted in Igbo love. In that video, I explain the heart behind this work and how intentional matching is done differently. And if you're serious about marriage, you can also fill out the intake form linked below. That form is the first step toward clarity and intentional introductions. See you all next time.